Hello everyone, how you doing? So good to have you back again to the Art 1920 podcast. Sorry we're off for 3 weeks, but we're back for good, God willing. So we are on the series that we're taking for 2023, the Sons of God series, and we've been able to look about a couple of sons, and so we'll continue pressing in for the remaining part of the year on this series. And so for this week, we are coming to one of the most celebrated sons of God that most people know, even both believers and unbelievers have heard a lot about him, and it's no other person than Joseph. We'll be talking about Joseph today. A lot of us have heard a lot of things about him, and we've learned a lot of things from his life. And so, like the name Joseph means that God will add to me what has been taken away. And I think his name really followed him, that despite him having all this vision of greatness and all of that, a lot was taken away from him, but at the end of the day, God added a lot back to his life. But for us as men, what are some of the things we can learn from his life? Remember that this series, we're not just looking at only just those things that we talk about a lot, because there's one thing they've talked about the life of Joseph is overcoming sexual temptation from his boss's wife, and how he was able to overcome and all of that. I think that's what people talk about him, or how he, through wisdom, he rose, ability to be able to interpret dreams, which is a gift that God gave him, and he used that, and he was able to rise to become a prime minister. And so we also talked that he went through a lot of adversity in life to get to where he got to. But what are some of the other lessons from the life of Joseph for us as Christian men, as we continue to pursue this our pilgrimage journey here on earth, to become all that God wants us to be, and yet still be ourselves, just occupying and just uplifting the name of God all our lives. So what's the first thing we'll be picking from the life of Joseph, our brother? So one of the things is that there are generation issues in one's life that needs to be addressed. Because remember that Joseph, generally in his house and their household, they have the issue of deception. So there's a generational issue that needs to be addressed about deception. And that's why you saw all of his brothers and all of that, they keep deceiving, and they still had all of those things. And towards the old age to him at some point, even in terms of blessing his kids and all of that. So the family had deception, and it really affected them. It had a lot of effect on him. And that was what also most cost him his life, that he was sent away because his brothers who were deceptive, they lied to their dad that he was dead and all of that. And so it's important for us as men to trace back your genealogy. Ask your parents questions. Just look at what are some of the things you noted in the life of your father, in the life of your mother, or most especially in the life of your dad, that you don't want it to happen in you or in the life of your own children. Then you need to address them. You need to say, it stops with me now, and you take it to the place of prayer. Then the next lessons we can pick from his life is that, which is one everybody knows, when it comes to sexual sin, there's no negotiation. We need to run. When we're more younger, a lot of our uncles in faith and all of that, they've taught us about how you need to run away from sexual sin. But for a lot of us, when growing up, we say, well, what are they talking? What are they doing? But then the more we get older, we know that those men knew what they were talking about. They were not fools. They've seen the scars. They've seen what can really happen to one's life if you do not guide it. But I see a lot of us as men act foolishly, even around sexual sin or opportunity that sexual sin is knocking, we think we can overcome. Sorry, prayers and speaking in tongue cannot save you. What you need to do is to run. Run, and you become an overcomer. So that's a lesson for us as men. Because a lot of men have carelessly caused a lot of trouble for their homes, have children outside of wedlock, have children everywhere, and some they cannot even tell their wife just because they refuse to run. They were trying to negotiate. You don't negotiate with this sexual sin. Then the next lesson we can pick from the life of brother Joseph, from this son of God, is wisdom is the principal thing, and it is not cheap. And we saw that it almost cost him his life. He had a dream, had vision of his parents bowing down for him, this and that, but he never had wisdom at that point. He just shared everything. And so we need wisdom as men. We need wisdom to be able to know when to share things, even wisdom on how to deal with our children, wisdom on how to work with our wife, wisdom on how to work with people around us. So wisdom is a principal thing that will keep you alive. And I think close to wisdom is the issue of silence, the mystery of silence. We need to learn how to keep things safe sometimes. Know when to share, because it will save you from a lot of pain and delay. He had a lot of delay in his life. We might look at it, oh well, that's God's plan. God knew he was going to go, was going to come at the famine, but God's original plan was not for them to go to Egypt. God can have different ways. He will still become great and become the head, and the family doesn't have to go to Egypt. But there was a lot of delays, and we could see that it caused a lot of ripple effect in the family. So please learn to just keep quiet sometime and don't say anything. Then the next thing we need to know is that dreams are for our appointed time. Even the Bible says, write down the vision and keep it safe, because it's made for an appointed time. It's not every dreams, every vision. You know, we have a generation now that people are just so under pressure. Everybody wants to do a lot of things because they've been told that it's time. What's your 5 years plan? What's your 10 years plan? Those are great. I also have them. I have those things that I think about, but you don't live your life just based on those 5 years plan or every year resolution. New Year resolutions are great. They are good, but that is not the part for us to live as believers, because we live our life in continuity, not just for a year, not just for 5 years, not just for a decade. It's good to have those plans, but remember they are for an appointed time. You can't force the hand of God. A lot of people are forcing the hand of God to make things happen, but God is a God of process. He's a God of order. He follows process. So just key into his timing. But is that calling you to become lazy? No. But you must keep working, and you must keep doing that which he has called you into. The next lesson that we can pick from the life of our brother that might be very important for us in this journey as Christians is that you don't force connection. Promotion only comes from above. Remember in the prison, he told that guy, hey, please remember me when you go out there, put a good word for me before the king. But it never happened. And we see a lot of people struggle. I see people, they've even made people ridicule them. They've sent email, they jump on people. It's just every time you just want to be in every meeting, you want to be in every conference. You call it lobbying skills, you call it networking, but people sometimes see it as pestering, you disturbing them. You know, you are trying to force things. You know, people have forced themselves into position, forced themselves into a career path that they can't sustain. At the end of the day, that path that God has for them, that comes with peace of mind, that comes with that gentle spirit and gentle listening, they've lost it. Sometimes you allow God put you in the mind of people. I can share a lot of testimony to you in that regard. You have a lot of peace, and they cannot say you are disturbing them. And nobody, no, at the end of the day, they cannot even claim, you disturbed us to get this through. No, you would have gotten it on merit. So promotion only comes from above. Then the next thing is that everyone needs favor and a sponsor. And you need to pray for that. Everyone needs that in your life. We all need that in one way or the other as we walk in this journey. Joseph got that. Joseph was able to get that sponsor, that supporter that will be able to put good word for you. So you need to pray for one, or you become one yourself. We all need that. And so that's why people, at the end of the day, when the Lord raised those sponsors and those people that speak good words for him, they did that on his behalf. And so, are you one? You know, every time, sometimes we pray, we want a helper, we want destiny helper, but are you also a destiny helper to someone? So try to put yourself out there to become a sponsor or provide favor for someone in life. Then the next thing is that you need to be full of empathy and kindness. But Joseph wasn't. And that's funny. People will say, Joseph wasn't full of empathy and kindness, because even that policy he made, that it later affected the people of Egypt. Remember that when the people were bringing their food, they were just buying all the land. The Bible says he bought away all of the land from the people of Egypt. At some point, they never had anything to say to him again. He had the vision. There are different things he would have done to even in a better way. But you see that he did not buy favor for himself before the people. What now happened? The Bible said there arose a Pharaoh that did not know Joseph. Not that he did not know Joseph, but Joseph did not sow any good seed in the life of those people, possibly that made them to remember him. And so, do you have kindness? Do you have kindness? You are in a road, you try to show empathy. Are you just a stickler for the law? No, we have to follow the law to the latter. We have to do this. We're not asking you to encourage people to break the law. But where's the place of mercy? Where's the place of kindness? Do you show that to people? And everybody also deserves a second chance. Do you give them second chance? Like Joseph, in this one regard, he did well. He gave a second chance to his brothers, and they were able to, to be helped. Everybody needs a second chance. So who in your life right now needs a second chance that you're not giving them that opportunity? And when we talk about second chance, it's not for you to act foolishly. and just allow people to keep hurting you. And that's why you need wisdom. That's what we talk about, that wisdom is the principal thing. And so who needs a second chance in your life? And I think one of the last lessons that it has always troubled my mind when I think of Joseph, when I just think about him, his life, and everything, is the issue of succession. It's linked to that issue that we're talking about, being kind to people, because they said there arose a generation that did not know him, and that brought trouble for the children of Israel. Joseph never had any succession plan. If you look at Daniel served in several administration, several government, spanning many years, maybe 20, 30, many years Daniel was serving, but he never served alone. He made a recommendation, he made plans, and if you look at what happened, even when Daniel was not there, there's some of the people he put in line, and in the process, they were still there, and they were very helpful. So what is your succession plan as a father? What's your succession plan as a man in life? Whatever you're working on, what are you doing? Because succession plan is critical for righteousness to continue. Because if you don't have it, but you know what, it caused the children of Israel many years of torture and beating, because Joseph wasn't thinking of that. He was just out to do his work. He was a hard-working man, helping the king to save food. He made the Pharaoh's throne even much more powerful than it was before. So there was more power to the sitting Pharaoh than the other pharaohs in the council. And that was where he failed. And when the time came, his people had to pay dearly for it. If you fail to have succession, sometimes your kids will pay for them. We have had parents that built empires and they died and they left. Their kids swapped everything away and wasted it. Or some uncles or some auntie came and just took away everything because there was no clear succession plan. So the challenge for us from the life of Joseph as men is that what are we doing? How are we placing ourselves in the successional plan of God so our righteousness can continue on earth, in our lineage and our household, even until Christ will return. So I think that's some of the lessons we can pick. There's a lot we can unravel from the life of Joseph, but this is not really an exposition or like a deep Bible study we're doing. We're just talking about what lessons for us as men that God has called that we can learn from the life of Joseph. And so I hope you've learned one or two things and able to put them into practice. So until we meet again next week, remember, it's still the Sons of God series where we're taking Sons of God from the Bible and studying from their life for us as contemporary men in this generation and those that will listen to this podcast in the future generation of what can we learn from their life that will make us better men after God's own heart. Until then, remember, this is still the Art 1920 podcast, and you can reach us through the Art 1920 at gmail.com. Until then, stay blessed and God bless you. Bye bye.